We just had the best trip ever to Mexico City and want you to go as well. So here are 6 essential must-haves for your next visit. Hey, I'm Kate, and behind the camera is my husband Andrew, and together we're married travelers going to places both new and nostalgic to help you plan the best vacations ever and to see as much of the world as possible. We just went to Mexico City and had the best time. Now we want to share a few of the tips that we've learned of must-haves before you go, starting with reservations. As the 4th most populous city in the world, it's no wonder you really need reservations to get into the coolest places. Mexico City is such a foodie destination and has so many interesting and unique restaurants, bars, clubs, rooftops, gardens, speakeasies, whatever you want to get into. You need to make reservations at least a week in advance, maybe more so if you're even more of a foodie than we are and you have really specific places on your list. Other things you need reservations for are experiences and tickets. These are things like tickets to museums, attractions, Airbnb experiences, TripAdvisor experiences, get your guide, all sorts of stuff. There's so much goodness to see. The city is huge and I can't state that enough. I really think you need to book Airbnb experiences about a month in advance. These fill up quickly since it's an international platform. Bonus points with it, it has an in-app translator feature. You can talk to anyone across the globe no matter what language you actually speak. It is fascinating to watch and just technology is so cool. All that to say, definitely book your experiences at least a month in advance. Next must-have for Mexico City are apps. There are 4 apps you must have when you go to Mexico City to make your trip a bit easier, starting with Google Translate. This will be essential, and it's really cool how in the app you can take a picture of a menu, a sign, anything you see, and it will just automatically, using AI, translate it for you into any language you need. So if you only know a little bit of Spanish, then you can take a picture of your menu, it will show you the list, and you can either point or try your best to pronounce it for yourself. And if you need to conversate with anyone in person yet you don't speak each other's language, you can use the conversation feature, which literally can ping your conversation back and forth and translate it pretty much in real time. It's the best. Also the best is the currency converter. Pesos and USD or whatever you're using is very different. At the moment, peso is about 5 cents to the US dollar, and I do not want to do that math the whole time, so about 200 pesos would be about $10. But besides that, I just use a currency converter all the time. It's really useful, it's free, and you can download it in advance and be ready to go when you hit the ground. Another one that's not essential, but it's really nice to have is WhatsApp. It's an internationally used app. Americans don't use it quite as much, but across the globe, it's a very commonly used conversation tool, kind of like Messenger in iPhone or SMS. And sometimes different guides or locals or whoever you meet may want to communicate strictly through WhatsApp, and it's just like texting. And last but not least in the apps is Uber. Of course, it's major ride sharing across the globe. They also have their own called Didi, but we just used Uber the whole time and had no issues. It also translated easily and could pick you up from anywhere you need to go. Another bonus of Uber in Mexico City is how affordable it was. Just to get from the airport to the other side of town was about $10, which is a pretty good deal if you ask me. Speaking of money, you need 2 things. A little bit of cash in pesos, which you should take out of the bank before you go. Otherwise, you're going to be paying all sorts of transaction fees from Western Union or ATM fees. Just let them know you need pesos in advance, probably about a week in advance, and they could just easily switch that over for you and you pick it up before your trip. As well as cash, you need a credit card that doesn't have international fees. Our favorite is Capital One Venture X. We used it the entire time. It had no issues and got so many points along the way because we were traveling. Unfortunately, you're also probably going to need medicine. But first of all, not for what you think. Mexico City is surprisingly high in elevation. It's about 7,000 feet above sea level. So coming from Dallas, that's right at sea level. I definitely experienced a little bit of like altitude sickness, headaches while I was there. So definitely have some ibuprofen on hand, as well as some Imodium for what you think.
Stop pooping.
Use water bottles for everything. Make good choices. And just, bring your Imodium. It'll help so that doesn't take too much time. Speaking of time, we're gonna awkwardly segue into another point of what you must have is time. Because not much in Mexico City moves very fast. There's a ton of people, so naturally there's gonna be road construction and blockage and traffic and all that kind of stuff. So add extra time into your schedule to go from point A to point B, you can get there pretty reasonably and affordably. You're just gonna need a little more leeway than you think between restaurants, attractions, reservations, whatever you have. Just allow for more time to get around. On that note, make sure you have a little bit of buffer between landing and taking off if you're flying into Mexico City. It took about 2 hours to get off the plane to our hotel, which is quite a bit longer than I expected, so we missed our first reservation for that evening. And on the way to the airport, we normally get to the airport about 2 hours early, but we had spoken with a guide the day before that said definitely leave your hotel 3 hours before your flight. So take that word of advice and allow yourself a little bit more time. And last but not least, you must have an open mind. When I tell you, you're gonna be pleasantly surprised with how cool and beautiful and green Mexico City is. I just really think you're gonna love it if you keep an open mind, but don't be so open-minded that your brains fall out. Make sure you stay safe, make sure you keep watch of your stuff as you would with anywhere else, and just use good judgment while you also keep an open mind and open eyes to see how beautiful, culturally diverse, and massive this city is. I really think you're gonna enjoy your trip. We really hope you have a great time. Let us know if these tips were helpful on your next journey, and we'll see you in the next one.